Welcome everyone to Open Mic with Sammy. If you're interested in getting into the real estate industry, today's guest has done it all, from house flipping to wholesaling to being a real estate agent. Stay tuned to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly of this industry. Hope you guys enjoy.
But all I know is I was like, I've never made that kind of money, and nor anyone in my family really made that in 1 month.
You've done house flipping, you've done wholesaling, and you sell houses. You do it all.
I do it all.
How many homes have you flipped? How do people determine an accurate ARV? This is a pet peeve of mine. Some real estate agents think they're financial advisors. Biggest commission. How's it going, Martin?
Good, bro. How are you?
Good. So we met through playing basketball,
We did.
and I think that's how we kicked it off, right?
That was exactly what happened. I think you shot the ball, and I looked over. I was like, why does he have a bunch of white paint on his hands? I'm asking what's going on.
So you're a big real estate guy, right?
I am. That's what I do.
How'd you get into real estate?
It's a very interesting story, but I'm gonna be very truthful how it happened, because it everything I believe is fate and God's will. So I believe in that wholly. So I had just got fired from a job like 3 weeks before, and I was 18 years old. I was about to be 19, and I wasn't working, and something seemed off. I couldn't work for anybody. Like, it just wasn't working for me. Like, every job I had, something wasn't connecting. I wasn't able to really put my heart into it. I would work, but it just wasn't fulfilling me. And then one day I was actually living with my grandmother at the time, and my cousins, and they would.
I'm sorry, how old were you?
19.
19.
19, yeah. And I was living with my grandmother at the time, and my older cousins, they would always talk crap. Oh, you don't work, and all this stuff. But it wasn't that I didn't want to. It's just that every job I would get, it's like, man, I don't want to make $7.50 an hour, because that's what minimum wage was back then. $7.50 an hour to do warehouse work. I was doing warehouse work, and I'm like, man, this doesn't make no sense. Hard labor, like, I don't like this. But we were sitting down on a Sunday, and I was looking at a newspaper, and I remembered one of my neighbors when I lived in Whittier. He did real estate, and I asked him one time. I was like, hey, what do you do? Because he always had nice cars. He had a nice house. We were renting a house in Whittier. And he's like, oh, I sell real estate. I do this, I do that. And I would always play with his son basketball. So we were renting in Whittier, and I would play with the neighbor's kid. And he always had a nice car. They were always going places, and I asked him, hey, what do you do? I was curious. And he's all, I sell houses like this. I was like, oh, okay. So, fast forward, I'm looking in a newspaper, and that stuck with me in my head. And it said, looking for callers/junior loan officers. And I went to look up what junior loan officer was. I was like, oh, it's real estate. They do mortgages and stuff like that. So I drove out to Duarte. I called them, and they're like, hey, come out for an interview. So I drove out to Duarte, and the guy was talking to me, and he's like, hey, I like you. You're a good dude. You seem like this would be a good fit. He's all, do you mind making phone calls? And I was like, nah, what do I need to do? Just call and ask people if they want to refinance their house. Okay.
Wow.
So I showed up, and I was very interested in it because it was finance. I was like, man, this is cool.
Do people still do that nowadays, today?
They do.
Oh, wow.
But it's not like it once was back then. Times have changed.
Yeah. What year was this? This was
This was 2023. 2023. So it's 2023 now. I'm 19 and a half, gonna be almost
wait, you mean 2003, right?
2003.
Okay,
Sorry,
good.
I'm sorry.
I'm like,
Yeah, I'm so backwards, bro.
You're 21, I
Yeah,
said?
nah, dude. So yeah, my bad. So yeah, 2003. Yeah,
Okay,
it was
okay,
a long
cool.
time ago. That's
Oh.
that's how bad I am with it.
Wow.
So 2003,
17,000 your first
my
month.
first month working there.
Wow.
And I didn't even understand what I was really doing, but all I know is I was like, I've never made that kind of money, and nor anyone in my family really made that in 1 month, bro. Like,
No, dude.
So to me, it was like, whoa, what the heck am I doing? So I stayed with it, and I saw the owners, they would pull up in like Mercedes, and they lived in these nice communities, and you know, they were in the business for like 10 plus years when I had started. And I would always just I was a very good observer. And um you know, during that time, it was you know, you know, anybody could get in the business and do it because it was, they said it was easy, right? But whatever, it still was work. But how I got into real estate was by just looking at a newspaper on a Sunday morning, trying to find a job.
Wow.
And that ad stuck out to me. And I remembered, you know, the neighbor telling me what he did. And I remember the car he drove. And I remember like the vacations, because my friend would always tell me.
How was it, a flyer? How was it?
No, it was like a Sunday newspaper, like the Tribune.
But like it just said
It
like,
just, in the back of the newspaper, they would post jobs back, you know,
yeah.
we're talking about like 20 something years ago,
No,
bro.
trust me, 'cause
Yeah.
I applied for jobs too at like Penny
Yeah,
Saver
yeah,
too.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I was
yeah.
looking for
So,
jobs.
yeah,
But that's crazy
yeah.
how you just like, oh, I just have to make phone calls. That's how you took it.
That's how I took it. Yeah. But
Wow.
what sold me was they were gonna pay me $300 a week. And at that time, $300 a week, bro, that was way more than I was gonna make working anywhere else. But there was a bonus if, you know, we did a closing, and they were, I think that first month I did like 12 loans. I brought 12 loans to them. And out of those 12 loans, it, you know, the bonus added up to like over 17,000. There's possibilities of making that abundance out there if you really applied yourself. And I think that's what really motivated me to stick with it. And I just was hooked, bro. I just wanted to learn more about real estate. So I became a sponge. I became like a student. Like I would follow people.
You had good mentors, you would say?
I did. You know, I was very blessed to be around the right people. You know, I wouldn't say all of them were good because I had mentors to learn what not to do, if
Oh,
that makes sense. You know, being during that time, there was a lot of bad business being done, and so I was very, and I always go back to my heart because I just couldn't do things wrong. And that's why I ended up leaving the company I started with, because they were doing a lot of bad loans for people. And I didn't sit well with me when
wow.
I found out, because I didn't know until like I started learning, like, oh, this is not good for people. Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm able to make this money, because they're doing things that just don't make sense. And I ended up leaving. And when I left, that's when my real estate venture started. I started learning about real estate sales. I started learning about investments, you know. So I teamed up with a buddy of mine back in 2025, and that was my very first flip.
You
We
mean
did,
2005,
yeah,
right?
man. I keep
Okay.
saying that 2025.
Oh, you know,
It's
no
it's
worries,
hard
no worries.
because it's so long,
Yeah.
but 2005. So I leave this company. I go for a stint in a company in Rancho, and then my buddy is like, "Hey, dude, we're gonna go work in Pasadena." You know, one of my buddies opening a mortgage company. So I went over there, talked to him. His name was Fernando, and you know, cool dude. And Shane, they were really good guys, man. Like they were doing business right, like, and that's where I wanted to be. And so
Mm-hmm.
I went and worked there, and I was really good at calling, bro. That's been my thing. I was good at cold calling. I knew how to talk to people on the phone, and I started getting into notice of defaults, which is foreclosures. And I was learning how to like help people that were in foreclosures to try to either like save their houses. While this lady in Duarte, she was losing her house and she just wanted to get cashed out. So I brought my buddy Fernando, and we ended up cashing her out, buying the property. We fixed it up, and you know, I want to say maybe like 4 weeks later, we put it on the market and sold it. And that was
Wow.
my very first flip.
That so I met you at 24 Hour Fitness playing ball. You were a project manager, right? At the moment,
Correct.
was that all you were doing, or were you doing like real estate on the side as
So
well?
I was still doing real estate.
Oh,
So,
okay.
which, you know, when the market crashed in 2008, you
Mm-hmm.
know, real estate went down and everything was hard. You know, I wanted to, I wanted to learn more about real estate investments. That was something I wanted to learn. So I was like, you know what? Everything's foreclosure. Um, there's a lot of investment companies that are coming out of the woodworks, which they're buying at the courthouse steps.
Mm-hmm.
Again, now fast forward, no more newspaper. Now I'm on Craigslist looking for jobs,
Yeah, yeah.
and I see this ad, you know, saying project manager, cash for keys, must be real estate, licensed. And I call, same thing. They say, yeah, come in for an interview. So now I'm driving to El Segundo for
Wow.
an interview. And it ended up being an investment company that is well known.
Yeah.
And they hired me, and I did well again. And now I'm managing their portfolio of properties that they're buying at the courthouse steps, and made them a bunch of money and learned a different avenue of real estate investments because of that company.
Wow. So you've done project managing. What was specifically your role in project managing right there?
So I would assist with purchasing at the courthouse steps, meaning I would do evaluations of the property. I would drive by, look and assess it to see what the amount of work is going to need to be done in order for it to get to a condition to put back on the market for resale. And then I would manage it, hiring the contractors, cleaning it up, taking the photos to give it back to the real estate division
Wow,
to
that's a
sell.
big process.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, man, I was overworked and underpaid. And it's why I left. And it's why, again, I can't work for people, because I think my mind is like, when you see how much money is made, because I keep track of that stuff, and you see the little that you're making, and you see the way you're being treated, it just never, it doesn't sit well with me. My soul just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I have to love what I'm doing.
So you did project management, you've done house flipping, you've done wholesaling, and you sell houses. You do it all.
I do it all.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about, I want to know a little bit of everything you've done in real estate. First, how many homes have you flipped? Like just, and I know that they've probably been a lot, but how many homes have you flipped over your period of time of being in real estate?
It's been well over 400.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, with partners or with no partners?
So I've done solo. I've probably done a little over 25 on my own.
Oh, wow.
I'm very picky. I'm not one that's going to do a flip unless it makes sense. With an investor, it's been well over 400.
Well, I have a question, and I'm pretty sure people are curious to always find this out. How do people determine an accurate ARV? Because most people that are flipping, they go ahead and get a property and they go see like the closest property to the house they're flipping, and they see how much it sold for, how recent, and how it was fixed up. Is that the way you get an accurate ARV price?
So, yes, it is how I do it, but I do a little bit different. And without getting into a huge explanation, I'm going to keep it simple. What I would do if you're looking at a property is I would look at two factors. One, how many listings are in that city that you're going to buy that property, because you want to know, is the market moving, especially right now, is the market moving or is it sitting? Okay. Two, you're going to want to know how fast those properties are going into escrow. Okay. Those are my two factors that are important. But going back to the ARV, you're going to take a property and you're going to look at take the square footage, the bathroom counts, and you're going to look at in the bedroom counts, and you're going to look at, okay, how much have the property sold in the last, I go 30, 60 days. I don't go past that anymore because the market's changing right now. And then let's just say the aftermarket value when it's fixed up is 450,000. Okay, so if your repairs are going to be 80,000 and you have holding costs, you have, different other costs, you're going to have to determine the price. So for me, in order for me to buy that property, I would have to buy it at 250,000.
250,000. That's, oh, wow.
So half of what it's worth.
Wow.
Because it's going to take, time, resources to make that property turn into a 450 property.
Would you say that the majority of your properties are like you bought them at 50% value, 60% value?
Or I would say all of them.
Wow.
All of them. Yeah.
Dude, how'd you get those deals, man?
So look, one of the things that I do is I'm very honest with people, and I tell the sellers exactly what it is, but I also make it a win-win for them. Sometimes the sellers get money in the back end, you know. If I if they want a price and I can't give it to them, I'll be like, look, I could give it to you. I can give you this much now. So let's say that property's 450 after it's fixed up, but I want it for 250 and they want 285. I would say, look, I can't give you 285, I can give you 250 now. But what I can do is if you're willing to hold the paper instead of taking it all up front, I will pay you 285,000 once the property sells.
So you do that with people, and I'm guessing you write a contract,
I do.
everything.
Everything's done in contract.
Wow, I don't know how people like they accept that sometimes.
Well, look at it this way. If you're telling them exactly what you're doing, you're being straight with them. You're not looking at it for your best interest, but their best interest also. And you're telling them that they're going to make more money, and you're giving them a large down payment because that's the key, right? I'm going to give them money up front. So they're going to get a large down payment, which is what they need. So typically they'll get anywhere from 50 to 100,000 up front. So they're not really financing the whole amount, or they're not keeping a holdback for that much. And then I'm telling them within 90 to 120 days, they can make an extra 35 to 40,000. No investor is going to pay that. And then the ones that would pay that, it's not going to be in their best interest.
And now, are these people? I'm guessing they're struggling.
So it's a very good question. So some are moving out of state and they've been living in these properties so long, but they have issues. Like
they don't have money to fix it
they don't
up.
have money to fix them up. Or unfortunately, they could just be like hoarders, or they never took care of the properties. And I mean, there's properties that go in and there's like dog feces, urine.
Oh, I've seen it, man.
And like they're living like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're super embarrassed. But the one thing I don't do is I don't judge them. I don't make them feel like they're less of a person, and I never ever not go into the house. I sit on their couches like it's normal. And they look at me like, everybody that's come here, they can't even sit with me, and you're the only one that's sitting with me.
Oh,
Why?
wow.
And then I can see it in their face, and I talk to them like it's like me and you.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the condition house. And you know what I tell them? We're gonna get you in a better situation, and I'm gonna make sure you're happy, and don't worry about the house. It is what it is. Like, you don't have to worry about it. I had a guy in San Bernardino. He was talking to about 6 or 7 investors, and he was about to sign a contract with one agent. And I went into the house, and he ended up ripping the contract in front of me. And I asked him, why did you do that? And he said, well, the agent that came in was complaining about my house and was telling me how dirty it was and how much it smelled and how hard it was going to be to sell. And he's like, you came in, he's like, and you drank my water. You made me feel like I was normal. And I told him, because you are.
Wow.
And he's like, well, he's like, but nobody does that. He's like, all the investors that came in here, he's like, they ran out of the house. Like, nobody wanted to sit on my couch, talk to me. Everybody ran out of the house. It's like, you sat on my couch and spoke to me and my son for like an hour. And he's like, my son looked at me and said, that's the guy we need to go with. Like, and the thing that I want to share is like, you know, at the end of the day, we need to treat people as human beings and not look at them like as they have issues, because that's not our place. People need to be loved on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, 100%. I think sometimes we, especially if we're doing I would say a business transaction where ultimately it's gonna benefit us. You know, yeah, I think we should never try to think we're superior above other people, because hey, we never know where we might end up.
Yeah.
We never know what position, sometimes the future, and what position we might end up, we might be. I mean, a lot of people judge and they'll, oh man, like, I mean, I can't believe that guy's like that. I can't believe he's so disgusting, this and that. But I mean, we don't. I think in concerns to like privileges, um, if you have a mom and a dad that love you,
Hmm.
you like it doesn't matter if you have money or not.
No,
You're already on a
you're
large.
blessed.
You're already on a. Your probabilities of succeeding are very high.
Yep. Yep.
And then when you don't have that, I mean, that's already tough for you. So I mean, imagine you're just saying like, well, this guy's so disgusting. Probably his parents abandoned him.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know.
He lost his wife,
Wow.
and I think when he lost his wife, he stopped caring. But what was interesting is I helped him, move. I was assisting him with like helping him get a pods and stuff like that from U-Haul. And he started making fun of himself. Like we joked. We ended up becoming friends and like we would joke and be like, damn dogs and like the crap all over the place. I don't want to live like this. Like he started being really open with me. And then he's the one who shared that when his wife died, he kind of just didn't care anymore.
Wow.
And so, everyone has a story, dude, and was that house disgusting? Absolutely, dude. I didn't want to sit there for an hour talking to him. The smell was bad. But I didn't go in making it just about me. I went in like, how can I help this person? In the process, I am going to make money, but I want to make sure that they know that they're going to make money too. And how do I get them to see that I'm the best fit for them to sell the property to? Because they can sell to anybody. I mean, they had packets from we buy ugly houses, we buy homes, open door. I mean, there was a bunch of packets I saw there from different investors, dude, that they could have easily sold the property to, but they didn't. And when they closed, I asked them, why did you choose me? I want to just know for future. I just felt like you and I would be buds. That's what he told me. And I was like, okay. And we were, because like, we had great conversations. He had I think it was like a 93 Corvette in his driveway. And he was working on it. And I would always talk about his Corvette when I would go there. I'd be like, oh, when you going to leave the Corvette for me? And he would laugh, like, and make him laugh and stuff like that. But he just said, I just felt like you were like my bud, and I felt like you really cared, and I just felt like, if I'm gonna do business with somebody, I want to do business with somebody that I know that I like.
Yeah.
And his son was cool. They were really cool people. At the end of the day, they just were going through some bad stuff.
Yeah.
But
How do you find your deals? Like, is it mainly because I'm pretty sure they're off market, right?
all of them are.
Yeah. So is it just driving around or?
So, this particular one, um, this came from an online lead source that I'm part of, and one of the buckets that I'm starting to really get into is online marketing. And believe it or not, people are putting information on sell their house cash, and that's what he did. And so the lead came in, and I called him and set an appointment. And he almost didn't set the appointment with me, but I just said, hey, just let me be your second option, third option, whatever. Like, worst case scenario, I give you some information and you go on your merry way, and whatever you decide is okay with me. And he said that's what really, I made it no pressure. So to go, but how did I find that deal? It was an online ad through like Google AdWords saying we buy houses cash.
Okay. Is that how you mostly find your deals?
No,
What
that's just one way.
what's like the main method that brings you in, generates you a lot of good deals?
I do a lot of stuff on notice of default, so foreclosures. I do stuff with probate. I do stuff with people that have died and their properties got willed. Vacant properties. So I do a lot of different ways of finding properties that way. It's just algorithms. I do a lot of like data science.
So this is what brings me into, because that's what gets you deals to flip, right? What's would you say that the majority of deals that you get off market that are like, let's say, really good deals, would you flip them or would you end up wholesaling them?
Neither. So right now, my biggest thing is holding,
Wow.
because I've learned that flipping and wholesaling, that is not the long-term game. I don't want to You know, there's properties I sold that I wish I never would have sold.
Wow, dude, it's crazy you mentioned that because I think youngsters like, do you know who Ryan Pineda is?
I do.
Okay, Ryan Pineda. What I followed him like pretty much when he started his channel, and he was
Mm.
saying like Dave Ramsey's stupid, and all these people are, yeah. So he was really into like flipping, and then later on, he started like, you know what, Dave Ramsey is pretty. He's right in a lot of stuff that he says. You know, it's like holding. You know, keeping long term is what creates great wealth.
Yeah.
You know, like flipping and like wholesaling, that creates fast cash, but over time, you know, holding is what creates a lot of wealth.
Yeah. You know, if the numbers don't make sense to hold it, then I don't hold it. And the numbers have to make sense. And if it doesn't hit my numbers, then it is a wholesale or it's a flip. But my flips are very picky, and I don't do it unless I can make a certain amount of money. And it's not because I'm greedy or anything like that. It's just the amount of time it takes, and it just has to make sense.
So you don't um you pretty much keep everything for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't like sell. You don't go wholesale or good deal to somebody.
No.
Okay.
No. I have. And the reason why is I didn't want to deal with it because it was too much. It was going to be too much work for me to deal with. Great properties I've wholesaled and made a lot, quite a bit of money off of, but I didn't want to. I wanted to keep them because they were great holds, but that it just wasn't going to make sense. Like the amount of work, dealing with the city to repair the property, the time it was going to take. It just, the numbers didn't make sense for me to keep it. So then, I ended up, I don't want to say wholesale, I ended up selling it because I had took ownership of the property. And then I try to do that first. If it's a good property, I'll buy it and then I'll analyze it. And if it doesn't make sense for me to rehab it and fix it, to hold it, then I'll turn around and sell it off to an investor. And I've done that.
Okay. And then out of what is it, 22 years you've been into real estate? 22 years. Out of those 22 years total that you've been in real estate, um, what has been your biggest loss on a flip?
I have the accurate number off the top of my head, and it's not because I don't remember.
No, no, that's fine.
It's because
Somewhere
it's,
close around
yeah,
the
yeah.
range.
It's because I want to forget, if that makes sense. But it's right around 165,000.
165,000 is your biggest loss.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It nearly broke me. Not in a way like where I was broke, but like broke me as a man. Because I've never, in this game, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And I think we don't prepare for it. And if we've never gone through it or are seen it ourselves, we don't know how to deal with it. And I had to learn how to deal with it. And it was an error that wasn't 100% on me. It was more the market came at the wrong time, which was COVID, unfortunately. And I couldn't control it. Everything stopped and there was nothing I could do. But
This was COVID.
yeah, this was during COVID.
Wow.
And
I think a lot of people lost.
yeah, but the hard money lender that had the loan, they knew what they were doing. And they intentionally wanted that property. So they made it to where if something went wrong, they can easily take it. And that's what they did. And that's why today I'm fully 100% against hard money loans. And I think that people that do flips with hard money loans, God bless them if they're making money, but it's not for me. I just choose not to do a flip with a hard money loan because I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are unknown in those contracts that we don't read, and when things go sideways, they're not really truly your partner.
Wow.
They're I look at them as the grim reaper waiting for you to die.
You know what's crazy? That I think, I'm not saying every loan is bad. Because I think even Dave Ramsey shows grace in
Yeah.
concerns to like, I mean, a house is so big. I mean, yeah, get a loan. But I just think how you everybody when they get a loan, they gotta make it make sense.
It does.
It has to make sense. It has to be like there's a lot of people that get loans and they curse themselves in and this is what I mean by that I'm gonna have work, health, everything's gonna run smoothly for the next 5 years that I get this loan or for the next 6 months that I do this flip and get this private money. Stuff happens.
Yep.
Stuff happen. No one ever even in their mind thought COVID was gonna happen.
No.
You know?
We you know and again, I'm not against loans. I'm not.
Yeah.
There's great private money loans that I would definitely do investments with. What I don't like is the hard money side of the business. And I'm saying private hard money because institutional hard money is different than private hard money. Private hard money is an investor who has $1 million that will loan it out to a broker, but they're hoping that
You fail.
because they want the property for themselves.
Now, hard monies. What is it like right now? Like, what's the interest rate?
So,
The average interest.
you know, if you've never done a deal before and you're new, you're probably going to get somewhere between 11 to 13%,
And then points is like,
anywhere from 2 to 3% of the loan.
wow.
I always encourage people like, look, if you're going to do a flip, go and partner with somebody who's done it before. Go and find somebody who's made the mistakes that you can trust and you could learn because, or buy it cash. So the deal I bought in, that I was telling you that I sold, I bought it cash. I was able to sit on it. I was able to make those decisions. I was able to like navigate through it without stressing.
I think another benefit of that of buying cash is also like holding on both ways. Like, I don't know how your other deal went where you lost, but let's say like this deal, something would have went bad. I don't think you would have been that stressed out since since you bought it.
No.
You know, cash. Now, even if you didn't buy it cash, let's say you put 40%, 50%,
There you go.
you would have still been good.
I would have been able to rent it or do something. And you know what? I did try renting it. It wasn't that I wasn't able to figure out a solution. It was that there was like a clause where like if you missed one payment, it like jumped 30%. It was weird.
Wow.
And so then you can't pay that back
No.
because you're like it was like a very it automatically one payment missed was the automatic default the way it was set up.
Did you know that?
No.
Wow.
Because I didn't read through the paperwork back then. I didn't look. I thought that it was like a traditional loan.
Yeah.
And so it was my mistake of not reading through it correctly. And when I got on the deal was already in foreclosure by another investor. So it was my error and my arrogance.
Would you say if you had that let's say that deal where you lost 165,000 approximately, if you would have ended up holding, do you think you would have like made money on
I
it?
would have made a bunch of money
Oh, yeah?
because after COVID, I could have sold that property for a profit.
Yeah, especially after COVID.
I just needed to hold on till COVID was over because when 2021 hit, the rates went down like to 2.5%. And so where it was and what the property was, we would have done well. But see, the investors that were part of it, I tried to explain that to them and no one wanted to hear me.
everybody was back.
Everybody was like pointing fingers like, oh, you made mistakes. I was like, no, bro, the market just shifted on us. There's nothing I can do. We had a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
No lie. We had a buyer. We would have closed with this buyer. That buyer canceled because of COVID.
A lot of people did that.
Yeah.
I remember when I got my first house.
It was a profit, dude. The buyer was happy. COVID happened and they got scared. And it was weird, dude, because they had the appraisal done. We negotiated all the repairs that they asked for. I gave them a credit. We were supposed to close in a week and a half.
Was it something of the loan or something?
No.
No, they just backed down?
They just got scared.
And what happens to with their down payment?
Nothing. They they
They
they
gotta. You
they
guys
got
gotta keep it though, right?
no. They got their deposit back because they it was something on the loan. They hadn't released their inspection contingency. That's what it was,
Oh,
because we were doing a repair,
oh, and that's
and
what
they
they
didn't. They
justified.
were gonna
Oh,
sign off on it 2 days after the repair was done.
yeah, because if it was a week and then they
Yeah.
backed down,
It
that.
was. I would say more like maybe 2 more weeks, 2.5 weeks. It would have closed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if I really remember correctly. But that's what really hurt, was because you didn't have control and you knew the property was gonna sell. And then you're like, dude, you're gonna make your profit. Everything's gonna be fine. So the valuable lesson I learned is I analyze properties as rentals first.
Mm, well, that means you get one heck of a deal because here in California,
Yeah,
there is no cash
yeah,
flow unless you put 50, 60%
correct.
down.
So it's why I only flip very little properties, because if the numbers don't make sense as a rental,
They don't make sense
they
at
don't
all.
make sense as a flip. Because look, if I'm gonna flip a property, I have to be able to know that if something happens, I can rent that property.
Yeah.
So if I can't rent that property, I'm not touching it.
Wow.
And that turns into a wholesale, or uh, however I want to position it.
And back to that loss that you had, I think being surrounded by the right people, as in like good investors, good partners, I think that deal would have been ultimately successful
Correct.
if the people would have been patient, ran the wave, and just been like,
I think had I had the right mentor at that time, and I feel like it would have been a different circumstance.
did you try to convince them? Like your partners?
So I tried to get them to understand that we have to turn it into a rental temporarily, and that we need to just weather the storm until this passes. But the deal was already going south when I got into the deal, so that person that invested was already like under the impression they were going to lose more money. And had that person just listened, that person would have made all their money back plus their profit. But because they were so getting bad information from advisors, we ended up losing that deal. And again, the finger pointing will always go towards the person who was responsible for it, which was me. And at the end of the day, I should have purchased that deal as a rental, not a flip. That's what I learned.
Wow.
Because we built an ADU in the back, and it was a good hold. I just didn't analyze it like that. And had I analyzed like that, we would have had that thing rented in before COVID. I wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't have mattered to me if COVID happened.
And it's crazy that you say that. It was I don't know how maybe you guys couldn't hold it for like 6 to 8 months, maybe more, because the real estate was going crazy 21, 20,
Yeah,
20.
so it wasn't that we couldn't hold it. It was that and when COVID hit, we were in escrow. So I was already at my
Oh, it was the beginning.
it was
Oh,
the
wow.
yeah, so like we got into escrow, and then 3 weeks later COVID hit.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So when COVID hit, I wasn't gonna invest any more money, dude. Like I sat down and said, "There's no way I can put any more money into this deal."
And everybody was skeptical too.
Everybody was skeptical. So and I said, "How am I gonna fund this myself when there's two other investors that are involved?" And so I said, "Hey, dude, we all got to figure this out together. We're all invested in it." And I thought everyone was gonna agree, but dude, it went to like finger pointing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you didn't manage it correctly, or you didn't do this, you do that. I'm like, bro, the deal is done. All we got to do is just weather the storm. I was like, I want to rent it. This was my plan. Let's rent it to a family. Let's split the difference of whatever the mortgage is gonna be, whatever's left over, which would have been probably like $600-700 per person. and we would have been fine. But they didn't want to do that.
Wow.
So they left me like with no choice but to walk away from it.
I remember that when I bought my first home, it was during COVID. I think we hit escrow like mid-January, and Trump closes the country, and everybody was skeptical. My lender called me like 3 times to like verify my bank statement. Are you still making the same money? Are you still making the same money? Like it was like 3 or 4 times they were just telling me like, and then I think it was like a week before it closed. They wanted to make sure that everything like you didn't get laid off. Like, are you sure? And then it closed. I remember it was like May 31st around there. It was like finally closed, and I was, wow, this took like a long time.
Yeah.
But it was because of the whole COVID thing that people were unsure. They didn't know what was gonna happen.
No, it was just and it only lasted 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it went away, and then all of a sudden like things just went crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful through that experience. It taught me a lot. I'm very cautious with what I buy now. I'm very cautious with how I approach investments. I'm not a cowboy. I don't just buy just because I want to buy. If it doesn't make sense, I walk away. And I don't care because the right deal will always come to me, and it has. And I've been blessed because of it, and I've been grateful because of it.
Now, what's the biggest profit you've had? Put some smiles on your face, man.
Oh man.
You're like, I hope the IRS ain't here.
So 268 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it a luxury flip?
No.
It was not a luxury
No,
flip.
it was not.
Because you hear those kind of numbers in
Yeah,
luxury flips,
no,
like over
wasn't.
1.5.
Believe it or not, it was a property that was a medium income size home. Like
It was a flip though, right? Not a wholesale deal. Right?
it was. They call it a coat tail. What that means is you buy it, you clean it, and you put it back on the market. You don't really do anything.
So you probably just painted that.
I didn't paint it or nothing. I just cleaned it. I just cleaned the yard and cleaned the house and sold it.
268,000,
Yeah.
dude. Where was this property at?
It was in San Bernardino County.
San Bernardino County, so
Yeah.
it could have
So
been
like San Bernardino.
close to Lake Havasu. Because
San Bernardino area, bro. I'll just say that.
Wow, $268,000.
Yeah.
How'd you get that deal?
Foreclosure.
Wow.
Foreclosure. It was a foreclosure, and the again, the owners were going through a lot. I came in, I talked to them and helped them, and it wasn't the easiest deal to get through, dude. I'll tell you that right now. But it was worth it. And they got what they needed, and I'm glad. And then I was able to make my profit.
How'd you feel after you made that big transaction?
Like nothing, because money that comes in, money goes out, bro. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
It's just as fast as you make it, as fast as you know this.
Yeah.
You know
No,
how
yeah.
you know how it is. Everything is so costly these days. So it allowed me to buy another rental. I'm grateful to that.
Damn, man, 268.
Yeah.
What was the like? What were you talking about? Like maybe 3-4 months, the whole from purchase to sale.
Oh no, bro.
Took a year or what?
That took me a year. Almost maybe a year and a half. I had to deal with it. That's what I mean. So I was able to buy it and analyze it correctly and do the right thing for the people plus the deal. So if you look at it and I break it up, I could have easily said, well, I made $130,000 each year off of that deal, which I did. That's how I look at it.
That's still good.
I know. But, I look at it that way because that's technically how it worked.
Wow. So you've done flips, you've done wholesaling. Talk to me about your real estate side and concerns as an agent.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
How many homes have you sold? Like in the most homes you've sold in a year?
In a year, 56.
56. Is that like off the charts for like your average?
That's not common for agents.
That's like off the charts, right?
That's like your top 1%.
Right. Oh wow. Because I hear some people, if they sell like 8 homes, they're happy.
Right now in the market, and this is just what I know. I mean, there's people selling between 1 to 3 homes a year, and then there's people selling between 6 to 12 homes a year. And then you have people still hitting, 20 to 30 homes a year. But it's very rare to hear somebody selling 50 to 100 right now.
A buddy of mine, he was saying, no, you know what? Nowadays, you got to be a bomb, sexy Latina to sell a bunch of homes.
You know what, bro? I'm not going to disagree with that. And I'm not going to bash them because it's true.
Really?
Yeah. And it's sad, but everything is social media driven, and they're not the brightest, bro. And I'm not talking down to nobody. I'm just being honest. But it's another subject that you and I can have that is just part of what we're going through in life right now. Just everything's attention economy.
Wow.
People want to see and view stuff, and he's not lying, bro, when it comes to that. Everything only lasts so long. I've been in this industry so long, dude. Trends come and go. But the knowledge never stops. The more knowledge and the more skills you have, the more longevity you're gonna have.
Do you think this is a trend?
Definitely a
of
trend.
like pretty much real estate. I'm gonna call it real estate models on Instagram.
It's a trend, bro.
Yeah.
It's a trend.
Wow.
It's a trend. It's gonna go away eventually. Everything does, bro.
I think the whole like also media like Selling Sunset, they kind of made it like a trend. Like
it's a trend.
I'm gonna be a real estate agent.
And now everybody wants to be that in that light. But at the end of the day, you got to follow your own path and what you're trying to build. And for me, it's like, if that's what you're doing, more power to you. And I wish you the best. Like, I don't hate on people that are doing that. Like, at the end of the day, like, if that's the direction you're going and it's making you money, and I hope you're doing something good with that money, because that money won't be here forever. Because I've been doing this for 22 years, and I've seen markets change a lot. And I've seen people at the top be at the top and then be at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can say is be humble, be smart, and just know that whatever you're doing now may not work forever. Because the things I did 10 years ago are not working right now.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the way the trends move. So if you're wanting to get in real estate, you got to be willing to do stuff on social media. And if you're a dude, then get in the gym, man. Go get some abs. You could do it too. That's how I look at it, bro. Like, hey, dude, you could be out there being the dude that's showing properties with, washboard abs,
just
bro.
with your tie.
Yeah, there you go. You see? So it goes both ways, bro. Like, you don't tell me that you wouldn't get people wanting, to show, hey, I want him to go show me my house.
And this nice jacuzzi and this beautiful view.
There you go, bro. You see what I'm saying? That's the house. But I look at it like it goes both ways. Like it's you can't be like, we can't bash the women for doing that, and I don't want to bash them. I really don't. And you know what?
No.
It's okay. And sometimes they're better at selling real estate than some of us men, because why? They're nurturing, they're caring, and they give more service than some of us men do.
I do think they have more patience.
Sometimes. They do, and they enjoy it, because
Yeah.
what woman doesn't enjoy looking at houses, bro?
Oh yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, oh, it's because of that. I don't. There's a lot of women I know that they're attractive and they do social media stuff, but they're also very respectful. They're also very like, they're moms and stuff like that.
My question was because I asked this question because, is it true or is it false? I was like, no, they gotta know experience. I mean, obviously they have a license.
They still know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They still know what they're doing. Now, does it help? Well, hell yeah, it does, bro. Come on, dude. Yeah. I mean, if you're a dude and you're making money and you're gonna go buy a house, do you want to go somebody like me, or do you want to go with this hot Latina girl
I
that's
want to go
selling.
with the guy that gets me the best deal.
That's you. Trust me, bro. That's you.
Yeah.
But it realistically is it goes back to where we're at in times and just how things
Yeah.
are. But you know what's funny, bro? I look at it like this. You can't do that to a probate person that needs help when their
Yeah.
mom and dad passed away. They're not going to go looking for that person. You can't do that to a person who's losing their house. They're not going to go looking for somebody online. You can't do that to somebody who's getting a divorce. You can't do that to somebody who's going through bankruptcy. You can't do that to somebody who has a property that they don't know what to do with it because they owe 25,000 to the federal government in taxes. Like you got to understand there's different markets. So like that's not the people I'm looking for to help.
Yeah.
Those are not my clients. So do I want to help those people? Yeah, dude, I would love to help them because I feel like I can educate people on truly how to hold on to real estate. But everyone has a different way of doing business, and I'm not going to compete with those people because that's not what I'm trying to. That's not my business. That's not where I'm trying to get my clients.
You know what? The one thing I like about you is that I think you're a straight up person. You're pretty direct and honest. That I think you'll tell people like, hey, bro, you can't afford a house. A, I think you should wait. A, that's not a good deal. A, um, there's better opportunities because I think right now a lot of people are taking. This is a pet peeve of mine. I don't know if you've seen it, but some real estate agents think they're financial advisors. They think they're economists or something. Like they're always, well, the market is right now. I mean, obviously, that's why I think you're a pretty honest person in the aspect of like, look, if I sell a house, I sell a house, but I'm doing other stuff. I'm doing wholesaling. I'm doing flipping. I'm doing other stuff on my own. Like, yeah, I'm selling houses, but I'm also doing other things. The person that just depends on selling houses doesn't sometimes really care about the customer. They just want to
Yeah.
sell a house. Like this is the
Or
most
now's
annoying
the
thing.
time to buy that type of stuff.
Well, you're losing money if you're renting.
Oh, you're not.
I disagree
You're
with
not.
that.
You're not losing money.
I completely disagree with that. It all depends on your
Yeah.
financial position.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna give it to you straight, and I'm gonna give it to you truthfully. Most agents don't even own real estate themselves. That's the truth. That's the harsh truth, but that's the reality.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, most agents don't even own real estate themselves,
And they're selling
and they're
property.
selling property.
Wow.
So they can't really advise that because they don't know what it is. So like when they're saying you need to buy, it's like, okay, yeah, but why? Because not all the time it makes sense for people to buy real estate. I don't, and I tell people that like, if somebody's making under 140,000 a year in today's market, I'm gonna be like, maybe you should wait because maybe they don't want to live in certain areas, right? But if they're making over that, then yeah, it does make sense for to buy a property because now they get tax advantages. They have interest they can write off. It helps with their taxes. Takes their tax bracket down from maybe 37% down to like 28%. Most agents are in it for themselves, unfortunately. Now, I don't agree with it because I mean, if somebody's making 70,000 a year, they shouldn't be buying a house. Unfortunately, in California, unless they want to move to Banning, Hammett,
29
29
Palms.
Palms,
Joshua
Joshua
Tree.
Tree, Yucca Valley.
Wow.
Like, unless they want to go out
Barstow.
Barstow, unless they want to go out that way, then yeah, by all means, buy a property. But I tell them, hey, buy it and rent it, and don't worry about it, because you could do that. You can still buy it. You don't have to live in it, and they're better off renting it because in the long run, it's going to benefit them. But they have to have a good nest egg. You don't buy it with like $5,000 in your bank. Like that doesn't make sense. If you have like a good savings where like maybe you got 20, 30, 40 grand saved, then we can talk. But if you're coming in with like $5,000 and you're trying to like figure out how to scrape up money, no, man. Like, what are you doing telling this person to buy a house? Like, that doesn't make sense.
That's my main thing, that they got to be honest.
Yeah.
And like they can't be, and the crazy thing is that they're pretty much setting people up for failure.
Yeah, they are. But then it's, we all have a choice. I mean, if you're gonna believe that person and not do your own research, then really, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
ultimately, it's up to the buyer to look up information and to be educating themselves.
Yeah.
But I think depending on your position, your financial position, your where you're at in life, it makes sense to buy a house, because a lot of people say you're throwing money away if you buy a house. I mean, if you're renting, you're throwing away your money if you're renting. And I disagree with that, depending on what you're doing, because like this is what people don't take in mind. When you buy a house, that roof is not going to last you forever.
No.
The water heater is going to go out.
Yeah.
HVAC is going to need maintenance.
Yep.
Pipes may, like if they bought a house that has galvanized piping, they're going to need a repipe soon.
There's repairs.
All that stuff, but they just account for like, oh, my payment's $3,200
Yeah.
bucks.
They don't think stuff's gonna break. But to go back to what you're saying, whether you own a property or you rent a property, you're still renting. You have to pay to somebody.
Oh yeah, to the day of your death.
Yeah, and so a lot of people, not yes, you get incentives for taking a mortgage on a property, right? But at the end of the day, there's differences, and I do agree with you. Like, I feel that in some cases, people shouldn't buy a home, and there's nothing wrong with renting. There's
No.
nothing wrong with renting a property. There's nothing wrong with being able to just have your family have a roof over their head, no matter how that is. But to go back to your original question is, yeah, they shouldn't act as a financial advisor role, but that's just the way the industry has been. But it's slowly changing. I see it.
Yeah.
And trust me, people are waking up to like, dude, we don't need to buy a house. Because I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that make good money and they're renting. And I can't be mad at them for that. And I tell them, hey, dude, I can only educate. I'm not going to force you.
There's a saying out there that goes, real estate agents, all they do is open doors. I mean, open doors and show houses to people. That's it. That's all they do. They just charge you to open a door. I agree and disagree. There are some agents that do that, and there's some agents like you that when I met you, I had a terrible agent, dude. Like I think I looked at maybe, oh, me and my wife are so frustrated, like more than 20 homes. And I told him exactly what I wanted. I told him, like, I want a half-acre property. I need land. I need a big garage. I told him all these things, and then, I mean, he would have show up with like, oh, look at this nice tract home, 3 bedroom. This has no land, but it's nice though. I'm like, dude, and I was like, oh well, let me see. And then he'll show up. I don't know, nothing. All the homes that he showed me, like, my wife and me weren't like, oh man, this is getting very difficult. The first time, I just kind of described. We were playing ball. I kind of described the home I want. He's like, hey, dude, I know exactly the home that you're gonna like. You're gonna like this home, and it's crazy. I mean, thank God. I mean, to this day, I'm living in that home.
Yeah.
I think that's where people need to really find the good agents and like kind of recognize, oh no, those are the bad ones.
Yeah. Again, it's knowing your product, knowing your inventory, and knowing what the customer is really wanting. And for me, I was blessed. I was taught by a really good agent who sold a lot of homes, and he was my broker. And he always told me one thing: know your inventory, study it, look at it, see it. And I would do that. I would study it, look at it and see it, because there's always going to be a buyer that wants something unique, and you have to know where that unique property is. And the reason why I knew about the property you bought is because I wanted it.
Oh, wow.
I wanted it, bro, because I saw the potential in it. So when you were describing what you wanted, I was like, oh, it's that property in Highland.
Let's
So,
bleep that out.
yeah, bleep that one out, bro. Anyways,
Yeah. So you've done project management.
Yeah.
You've done flipping. You've done wholesaling, real estate agent. Which one is the most profitable one out of all of them?
real estate investor.
Oh, like all like as in, what do you mean by real estate
Like
investor?
investing in real estate's been the most profitable.
But what do you mean, like specifically,
Like me buying and holding property.
or just
Yeah,
buying and holding?
yeah,
That's the best one.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Are
Buying-
you a big guy on the Bird method?
Oh, I love the Burr method, bro.
Yeah.
It's, if you could do it, that's the best way to do it. But it's hard right now in California. You gotta really find the right deals.
I don't know how the Burr method would work here in Southern California. It doesn't, like, I haven't found a single house. Probably I'm terrible at, I just
Yeah.
do go by Zillow, right? But I haven't found, the only way I would say that the Burr method makes sense is putting 40 to 50% down.
Yeah. I'm gonna share this, and I shouldn't. But there's a lot of deals out there. A lot. And these sellers will pretty much give you whatever terms you want if you know how to position them correctly.
In concerns to like seller finance, or
Yeah. I mean, I just got a deal where I took over a 3.75% interest rate loan.
wow,
That's not unheard of in this market, but how did I get a mortgage with a 3.75% rate?
wow,
It's all about who you work with. It's all about what you can know. So for me, it's like, and even if you're buying, like right now, if you're looking to buy, like, you should be making offers under asking and not caring if the seller takes it or not,
mm-hmm.
because this is the market to do it in. I've learned to walk away from deals,
Mm-hmm.
but if you in your heart and you feel like, man, this would work for a long term, don't let like $10,000-$15,000 stop you from getting a property.
Oh, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I sometimes wish I had more of a mind of a real estate investor that doesn't know much about construction.
You know what?
'Cause
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
understand.
because to me, every deal makes. I just have to fix that up.
Yeah. But
As a contractor, I don't see like all it needs is a water heater. It needs 3 water heaters.
I think you have to know when to wear what hat, and that's why I'm telling you, like, it's
Yeah.
okay to walk away from it. It's okay to stick to your number and be like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna pay the $435 whether he takes it or not.
Yeah.
But there's ways to make deals work, dude.
Yeah, because I sometimes feel like real estate investors, since they're on the other side of the fence and they're the ones paying the contractors, they'd be like, no, a contractor is going to charge me this much to do all this work, and it needs 3 water heaters, it needs a roof repair, it needs a recover.
That's why I walked away from that deal, because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pay $200,000 to do, or $250,000 to do a rehab on this deal for what? Like, it doesn't make no sense to me. After I'm done with it, and the rents ain't gonna cover it. But then after realizing it,
Yeah.
someone like you could have took that property and turned it into gold, because you could do the work. You have
Yeah.
workers. Like, you could have turned that into a fourplex, bro.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's a little gold mine that's happening right now, that people are buying like these properties that are detached and then just converting, because that's the only way numbers sometimes
That's
make
the
sense.
only way it works, dude. I learned this because I thought I lost the deal, and then one came in my lap 2 months
Oh
later.
wow,
Because I wasn't happy that I sold that property.
just gotta be patient.
You
Huh?
gotta be patient, bro.
Okay.
A better opportunity will always come on your lap.
As a house flipper that has flipped over 400 properties, what's the biggest mistake that house flippers do? What do you think that they do?
They don't analyze the property correctly. Their budgets are off. They don't inspect them.
Analyze as like what the construction cost?
The construction costs. Yeah, I know a lot of people that they go over their construction budgets.
There's a verse in the Bible in Luke 14:28 to 30. I don't know if you've read it, but it says, Jesus said this, but don't begin until you count the cost. For who would begin construction of a building without first calculating the cost to see if there is enough money to finish it? Otherwise, you might complete only the foundation before running out of money, and then everyone would laugh at you. They would say, there's the person who started that building and couldn't afford to finish it. I think
I
that's,
love it.
yeah,
I think that's so perfect because it's exactly what I mean.
yeah,
You know, they go into the property thinking like, oh, it's gonna be a good deal, but then they get into it not realizing, oh, I forgot about the air conditioning unit. I forgot about the roof. You know, um, the biggest mistake that I see with real estate investing is not budgeting correctly. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see. They go in, oh, this is going to be a $40,000 budget. It turns out to be 65. That's pretty common.
well,
Or they think they're going to sell it in 90 days. They end up holding on to it for almost 8 months.
and having all that private money cost. Huh?
Cost, yeah.
Wow.
And again, that verse is probably spot on. They don't do they're so quick to try to buy it without being patient with the numbers and making sure the numbers are going to make sense.
And there's some people that want to like convince themselves to make the numbers make sense.
All
huh?
the time, dude. All the time, man. I used to hear it a lot. It's interesting because I no longer offer advice to agents who are acting like investors because they don't want to
Yeah.
hear the truth.
Yeah, because I've heard people say like, uh, I've seen real estate investors say like, oh, I'm pretty sure I can sell this home for 850, and I'm like, really? Because I mean, this house is pretty nice, and it only sold for like 780.
Yeah.
No, but the way I'm gonna fix it up, it's gonna be 850.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I know somebody who does that.
Yeah, and then they end up not meeting. I think it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
If that home sold for 850, just aim for 800 for sure.
Yeah.
If you get 860, cool.
Cool.
Aim for the stars. But land on earth.
What's interesting is I'll see a comp and I'll be like, oh, okay, this one sold for 680, but I'm pricing my house for 649, 30,000 under that price. Why? Because I want somebody to know that they're going to get a better priced home, a better product than what the last comp sold for.
Wow.
So it's a different way of approaching the market. And I tell this to my sellers when in my traditional real estate. I'm like, look, you're looking at the numbers wrong. And they're like, why? I was like, well, just because that one sold for 800 doesn't mean you're going to sell it for 825 or 800 yourself. I said, that was just one buyer. Do you really think there's another buyer like that in our market right now?
Yeah.
No, and I tell them why. So I end up listing their property for 775, sometimes 780, 20,000 under, 25, 30,000 under, and they end up selling for like almost at 800, maybe like 785, 790, but it's allowing the market to think that, hey, we don't have to pay the $800,000 price and we're going to get the same house. And that's where it comes into like, you're trying to get a deal. What makes you think that they're not going to try to get a deal?
So you would say analyzing the deal, that probably in construction cost, you probably bought it too high.
Like you did the best analogy right now, but the way I'm going to rehab it, I can get 850. I think that's the best analogy that I've heard, because I've heard that so many times. Yeah, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it so nice. Everything's going to be upgraded. Okay, bro.
We'll see how it
Let's
goes.
see how it goes. Yeah. I mean, I hope it works, but
And numbers don't lie.
no, they don't. They
Yeah,
never do.
you can lie to yourself thinking that it's because the way I'm gonna do the shower and I'm gonna add a niche on it. That one doesn't have a shower niche. I mean,
People don't care.
you'll get a buck. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll get $50 more, man.
Two things I know: showers, as long as they're upgraded and they're nice, it's all that matters. But in order for you to do that, you have to do it in the right market.
What do you think in a house gives the most value? Because people say kitchens and bath.
Number one is kitchen.
Kitchen
That's going to be number one.
has to have an island.
I think the kitchen. I don't care if it has an island or not, but the kitchen has to look nice. That's the number one thing. If you have a nice kitchen, you could go mediocre on the bathrooms. As long as they're updated, you don't have to go all out on the bathrooms. But the kitchen, if you really do the kitchen right, your property is going to stand out because it's going to sell. People are going to be like, "Oh, the kitchen is amazing." So I have always focused on the kitchens.
Oh, okay.
That's been my biggest. I focus on kitchens. I go with an upgraded cabinet. I don't go cheap on the cabinets. I spend a little bit more on the cabinets. I typically go a little bit more on the hardware, and then on the bathrooms, I'll go with fiberglass inserts.
How much do you spend on your average bathroom?
It depends. So like, if I'm
Like everything, like you're
Yeah.
talking about like vanity.
yeah, so
bathroom,
if it's all
shower.
in, like maybe between $2,000 to $3,000.
2 to 3 grand, as in material and labor,
Material,
everything.
labor, everything. Yeah.
Like you're talking about shower,
Shower,
shower
toilet.
valve.
I mean, what are the toilet's going to be 120? The vanity's going to be 250. The faucet's going to be 60. The tub's going to be $220.
Wow.
I mean, I know the cost to the T. So that's the difference from someone like me than someone who's gonna be like, oh, I know the cost. So I could sit there and be like, oh, okay, that I can get laminate flooring. That's gonna cost me about $180, $1.80 a square foot.
$1.80 material or
For the material. That's just for that laminate. Now, if I want to go cheaper, I can probably get it for about $1.35, $1.40 a square foot.
what do you go at, like 6.5 or something like that?
No,
5.5?
no, that's an 8.5 millimeter.
8.5. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
minimum. Our 12. You know?
And on kitchens, what's your average?
My average cost, so that's where it's different. So like my cabinets, I'm gonna spend probably for cabinets and install, depending on like how big the kitchen, it could be anywhere from 7 to 10,000.
7 to 10,000.
Yeah, because they're not cheap cabinets.
But that's everything. That's like material and labor. Or?
That's material and labor.
That's still a good price.
Yeah, but that's not countertop.
Would you say
Those
that,
are not countertops, by the way. That's just cabinets.
would you say that your prices are like you acting as a contractor?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. A lot of these are vendors I go through. So like I have probably about 8 different kitchen vendors, and 4 of them, they have their own installers.
Yeah, you've had a lot of experience in flipping and buying materials. I think people make the mistake, like house flippers that are beginners, that they say, "Oh, I'll buy the materials." Now, most of them think they can buy the materials cheaper than the contractor.
No, they can't. They don't know how.
Heck no, dude. I get some crazy deals.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is because they don't understand how to build a relationship with vendors.
And it's all because they sometimes see some kind of a reel that says like, "Oh, contractors mark up their prices or mark up material price." You know.
So you have different grades of material, and that's where I think they get it wrong. So like, you can put like a C grade cabinet in a house and make it look like a BA grade cabinet. Okay. And you will understand this because you understand cost. And then if you want the A grade cabinet, then you're going to get an A grade cost, right? You're going to get that, right? So what I see average flips, they're C and D grade cabinets, but they're paying B and A cost. And the reason why is because they're not understanding that you got to go open your own accounts with these vendors, but you have to be spending the money to be able to go and get these prices. So what I've done is I partner with different investors. We use the same accounts, so we get better pricing.
Oh, wow.
Because now, going back to my boy Fernando, you know, he has a nice setup. I can go to his kitchen guy, and his kitchen guy can be like, I can knock that kitchen out for $7,800 all in. Kitchen cabinets, you know, countertops, all the hardware, everything. And that's a decent sized kitchen. But how do I get that price? It's because there's 5 of us buying from that guy. And that's how he set up the account.
Biggest commission you've had,
Ooh.
you've got as a real estate,
Real estate
agent?
agent, 46,000.
46,000. That was what was the price value on that?
1 million, almost 1,500,000, almost 1.5.
Where was it?
Rancho.
Rancho. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
1.5, 46,000.
Almost. It was like 1,460,000 something like that.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Final question, Martin. What is the best advice you'll give someone not just trying to become a real estate agent, because you've done project management, house flipping, wholesaling, you've done it all. What's the best advice you'll give someone that wants to get into real estate investment?
Find somebody that you can learn from and mentor with, and be willing to do whatever it takes to learn from them. And if it means, you know, working with them for a year or two to get the knowledge, do that. But never, ever stop being a student, because there's always something you can learn. And if you can do that, you're going to be fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Martin, thanks for your transparency with numbers. It's always nice to see the real numbers, what's really happening in the real estate, commissions, in, you know, profits and losses, house flipping. Thanks for being here at Open Mic with Sammy.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, actually. I really enjoyed it.
See you guys in the next one.